this is Curtis Hawks, and I'm here with my counterpart, Chris Conroy, with Insurance Agency Marketing Services. Chris, the scenery looks a little bit different today. Normally, you and I are in the office, on the phone, working with agents, supporting them, but we find ourselves today in Chicago at the Chicago Board Options Exchange. So, tell us a little bit about why are we here today?
Yeah, Curtis. Well, we are so honored to be here to close the trading session, ring that bell, the real bell actually here just a little bit at what's called the Cboe, the Chicago Board Option Exchange, where all these major options and derivatives and other things that the insurance companies use to provide those guarantees and ultimately to pay off on many of those index products. So we're so honored to be one of the invited few companies that ever gets to do that, be up on their big board. We'll be doing that soon. I know we're excited because when we thought about this, Curtis, we're like, let's bring on our customers. I mean, that's really who we serve. So talk about that.
Yeah, in fact, that was the first thing when we had the invitation to do this. That was the first thing that we thought of is how can our agents and advisors leverage this? And so we put together a plan, and we've got some of our top producers here doing media, doing interviews, all with the singular purpose of they're going to be able to leverage that, whether it's on their website, social, et cetera. And I think that's been a core aspect of IAMS since our inception 40 years ago was how can we be a helpful resource? How can we help advisors grow and achieve the levels of success that they're looking for? And a byproduct of that really that's spurred a lot of things along the way is innovation. So our portfolio of products, our strategies, technology, marketing, all those kind of things. But we've always kept that centric to who we are, and part of our value proposition is how do we help you grow and scale?
Well, I know we think about helping our financial advisor, which has always been the North Star of IAMS since the get-go, since Charles Hiring founded the firm, and we're pleased to be a part of that. Obviously, now is how do we continue to help them make their job easier, help them with better client solutions and products, and all the innovation that's out there. And we always focus on the advisor first. And if we can help them provide better client solutions, ultimately, we're all going to be winners in this thing. So we're excited about that. We're here at the Cboe, where a lot of these, new strategies that we've seen both on the index UL and the index annuity side are actually traded to provide the benefits that you have with those great products. And so that continues to be a conversation. I know IAMS has designed a number of these products in connection with the banks and the insurance companies. So we're real excited about how, this is actually the stuff that we help build or the things that we talk about every day is actually done here. And so just real excited to see that and to bring our top financial advisors, many of them who've never had a chance. I don't know if any of them actually have been here. I have not been here to actually connect with some of the people and to see the actual traders and the investment managers in action to provide ultimately the embedded guarantees and how these products deliver the tremendous value that they do. So, I know talking to all of our financial advisors, we did a little bit of Q&A with them earlier. You have any insights from that? It feels like there was a lot of authenticity from our group and a lot of unique ideas that they shared with one another.
Yeah, it was really interesting to, especially because I think sometimes we feel like these investment teams are up in this ivory tower and you're wondering what's going on? What's the mindset with these carriers who are literally managing billions and billions of dollars of assets? And so to be able to get a meeting set up where it was so candid and kind of an open book of here's our philosophy when it comes to investing. Here's how we view different types of asset classes. Here's what we think as we go into next year, what's going to happen. And I think that's important because when we think about indexing and we think about today's market, it really impacts a majority of the fixed products that are on the marketplace today, even in the context of life insurance, right? IUL used to be a small part of the life insurance product, but now you've seen that expand into whole life and do GUL and do all these different facets of driving what the solutions are for clients. And certainly we've seen significant growth in the fixed indexed annuity space with new entrants, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. And so to be here kind of at ground zero with the engine that drives all of that innovation is really exciting.
Right. I mean, you mentioned indexed annuities. So, a growing market, $120 billion market. And having, just visited with many of these other leading carriers and the banks that provide a lot of the indices, no slowing down. In fact, I mean, there was just at an annual meeting where we talked about doubling the marketplace. So taking an 800 billion, 400 billion to $800 billion fixed annuity market, just in maybe a couple of years' time. So we feel like we're well positioned to help that growth and ultimately help our advisors. One thing is, I think we pride ourselves on really providing expert advice. And you think of the team we have, the team that we continue to grow when we build, we know having the right talent and the right expertise and the tools out there to help our advisors grow is critical. I mean, that's what really makes everything work. And so maybe talk a little bit about the investments we've made in people or technology and marketing.
Well, and I think you're exactly right. It starts with the people. I mean, you could have the best ideas in the world, but if you don't have the right people implementing it, it doesn't go anywhere. And so that's really where we've started. And, from that, if you've got the right people, the right mindset, and it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before, being a helpful resource. We always start there with the agent because agents are all different. They're at different phases of their career. They've got different target markets. They're in different areas of the country. So there's not ever going to be just one silver bullet solution, right? We all, we joke about that, but that really doesn't exist. And so taking that customized approach and helping advisors grow and scale means that you're going to have a portfolio of different types of options to meet somebody where they're at to help them to get to where they want to be. And so that in of itself, as we've talked about, has really driven the innovation within IAMS, whether it's from a tech standpoint, marketing standpoint, a support standpoint. And then also, that's the other thing. We've got a number of different target markets, the individual producer as well as on the agency side. And I think we recognized a long time ago that the needs of those two markets are different. And so we've innovated in both areas to make sure that we can really support those different business models.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of activity, call it, amongst the independent agent and agency world. So having worked with, we work with both of those type of customers, the approach has always been a customized approach, which is how can we help them on a unique basis, what their needs are, and not just jam down a square peg, round hole. Yeah. And so let's meet them where they want to be, show them some opportunities to grow, and ultimately take their, either individual production or their agency production to the goals that they want to reach. So we do that on a very dedicated, individualized, thoughtful approach. And I think that's done us favors. I know as a firm, we want to grow. We are growing. We're beating the market share. Mm-hmm. We operate as an independent firm. And I think that's a differentiator, meaning independent ownership. Curtis and I are some of the owners here, and Steve and Charles as well. So we're real excited that, if we want to do something, we do it. And so I think that you maybe talk a little bit how that's different and what does that mean in practice?
Well, and that's the interesting thing, right? It's a simple principle, but it can drive profound growth. And in the not too distant past, it wasn't that novel of a thing to be independently owned, but certainly the landscape has changed over the course of the last several years. But I think a couple of the key pieces of that is because we are independent, because we've had such a focus on the right talent with the right ideas, it allows us to not only innovate at a higher level, but it also allows us to be nimble. There are opportunities in the marketplace every year, every month, every day that happen. Are we properly prepared? Are you properly prepared in your business? And that's where I feel like we've really been able to shine for our advisors, is to really capitalize on those opportunities that come up in the marketplace, because we don't have multiple levels over us that we're trying to navigate. We can see an opportunity in the marketplace. We can think about the idea of, is this helpful to our agents? And if it is, let's run with it. Let's develop out the infrastructure around it, and let's get it out to market as quickly as possible to our advisors. And so I think that's been a key part of our success. I think it's going to continue to drive growth for us, because I don't see things slowing down when we think about the market and AI and everything that's going on. I think having a first mover advantage is going to be critically important. I think being nimble is going to be more important now than it's ever been before, because things are going faster. Mm-hmm. And being able to have our finger on the pulse of what's going on is a huge asset to the advisors that we work with.
Well, you mentioned something, Curtis, there about technology and AI, which having just come from the NAPA annual meeting, that was all the conversation. And
Yeah.
so maybe we'll touch on that real quickly, which is, some of the investments and, work that we're doing towards AI and technology improvements, and how that's really with an eye towards how do we help our financial advisor customers.
Yeah.
So out there in the marketplace, we have thousands of people we serve and thousands more we will serve. Ultimately, when we think about what investments we're going to make, say, in AI, and whether it's ChatGPT or some of those other tools that are available, our first and foremost conversation internally is how can we help the advisor have a better, easier experience, right? Either ease of business, speed, accuracy, help them get in front of more people. So I know that's always the heart of our conversation. If you want to touch on any kind of technology improvements as well, I know we're partnering with some parties right now in order to make it easier. For example, just to see all of your pending business in one place, and partnering with some of our friends at Magnifact and Luma. But we're also looking at other ways that we can enhance that, the experience for the producer.
Yeah, and again, you make a good point. We start with the agent first, and I think really a good way to think about it is the sales funnel, right? Top of the sales funnel, body of the sales funnel, and then what's coming out. And so certainly to your point with Luma and Magnifact, those are things that impact the body and endpoint of the sales funnel. We're also investing a significant amount of time in the top of the sales funnel, i.e. your marketing and prospecting programs, right? Because that's what drives consistency within your practice. And while I think many agents and advisors and people just in general are looking at ChatGPT, the reality is AI can impact a variety of aspects of business. And so that's just in the ecosystem of that, that's just one small piece of it. And so certainly whether it's specifically using that or other forms or how that's woven into other different platforms that we use, we're investing very heavily into that. In fact, for some of our advisors, whether they realize it or not, they've started to see some elements of that. When you look at our marketing kits and content syndication, those types of things, we're weaving that in already. And the reality is this is in its infancy. I mean, think about the idea of scheduling appointments and having an assistant that's an AI assistant. Think about in the context of video. Think about in the context of workflows on your drip marketing. All of those things are in development at various aspects. And, I really feel like we're right on the cutting edge of that with what we're incorporating in and then where that's going to go.
Well, next I'm just going to touch on something we talk to a lot of our advisors about today, which is kind of defining who they are. What's like an authenticity or their core values. And so I might just share, my perspective on one thing I think is real important to me and why I think IAMS is different. So I feel like one thing that we're really, really good at is really personal integrity to our purpose. And so by that, I mean, we're going to say what we're going to do and we're going to do what we say, which I think in this business is not always the case.
It's not so common these days.
And so a lot of that's frankly a little bit rolling up the sleeves and the work ethic, but also, knowing how to get things across the finish line, knowing how to help the advisor. Maybe they're not sure about, the right recommendation, or they got a problem with a carrier. They're not sure how to get more leads or how to help, run their operation more efficiently. And I feel like when we make a commitment to people, we're going to help and serve them, which starts with a 2-ring guarantee. I mean, literally, we're answering the phone, 2 rings, live person. We're going to get you in touch with somebody you're looking for. And if they're not available, you're going to get another live body with all the expertise that you need to help you get across the finish line. That's a lot of what I've seen IAMS, the marketplace, is doing better than anybody else. I know that's never going to change, as long as IAMS is around, which is going to be our lifetimes and more. So I kind of feel like that work ethic, which is rooted in personal integrity and following through, doing what you said you're going to do, is one of the roots of the organization. But what do you think?
Well, I agree. And as it seems simple, I know many of the advisors that we work with, maybe some of you watching this, it's not so common to find these days. And it's intrinsic to who we are. And again, it goes back to finding the right people that have a like mindset. And that's why that's been our philosophy for 40 years and continues to be the case. With what we do, we're really not designed to be all things to all people, right? I mean, we're looking for making the right partnerships with people that are looking to grow, that are looking to develop, And we've put together a robust portfolio of offerings that can support that. But what that also means is a byproduct of that is the agents that we have the opportunity to work with, they get a lot from us. They get all of us. And that's been, I think, a big driver of their growth, and ultimately a big driver of why we're so consistent in our growth, is that we're getting the right resources to the right people. We're doing it at a high level. We're executing strategically, and you can't not grow and scale consistently by doing that.
Well, I know we're going to be wrapping things up here. I might just ask you, Curtis. I'll answer for myself is, we're getting ready to ring the real bell over there pretty soon. So, how are you feeling about that? I mean, for me, honestly, I'm a little nervous. I hope I don't trip on the steps on the way up. But we're real excited to be surrounded by, a lot of the core of our best advisors with us, which is what we're all about. I mean, I'm glad that we have a great complement of some of our top people there. And so I'm honored that IAMS and our, core customer are going to be on stage there today.
Yeah, and I would echo that. I mean, it's something that most people that are in the financial services space never have the opportunity to do over the course of their career. So the fact that we've been recognized and invited to do this, and then we can do it with the agents that work with us, our friends, that we've not only have made a meaningful difference in our lives, but we've been able to make a meaningful difference in their lives. To have this memory together is just one of the really neat things about this business. As much as we talk about growth and scale and innovation and all those types of things, at its core, this is a relationship business. And that's probably one of my favorite things about it, is the relationships that we're developing with agents that we're able to work with for years and years. So yeah, I'm excited to do it. A little nervous. It's going to be interesting getting live stream and all of that, but really neat honor, and glad that we're here with our friends.
Well, it's going to be a great time to celebrate our success, celebrate the next chapter of IAMS.
Yeah.
And let's go ring the real bell here.
Let's go get it and make it happen.